Chapter 22. Joe. It was an accident, Dylan tells Mrs. Beam when he comes back from dropping Ravi off at the nurse's office. Yeah, right. Selena Gervais, who's wearing her dorky Girl Scout uniform as usual, volunteers to pack up Ravi's stuff for him and take it down to the nurse's office. She accidentally drops Ravi's pencil case as she's trying to put it in his backpack, and the last of his 3 mechanical pencils goes rolling under the desk. Dylan sees it. And before Selena can bend down and pick it up, the pencil disappears down the front of his pants. She hunts around for it a little, but all she comes up with is a balled up piece of paper. Crud. It's that stupid cartoon that Dylan drew. Why hadn't I thrown it in the wastebasket instead of dropping it on the floor? Before I can do anything about it, Selena tosses the crumpled up cartoon into Ravi's backpack and zips it closed. 2 seconds later, she's out the door and on her way down to the nurse's office. At 11:30, the lunch bell rings. Wednesday is chili day. Einstein's chili isn't nearly as good as my mother's, but the cornbread is decent, especially if you put a lot of butter on it. Mom is standing near the door in her red and white striped apron when I get to the cafeteria, but when she sees me, she looks the other way. I have to give her points for that. Ravi is nowhere in sight. He might still be in the nurse's office, or maybe he went home. I get my lunch and head for the empty table near the trash cans. But Dylan steps in front of me. It's a good thing Coach decided to call the game, he says. If we'd lost, you would have paid for it big time. I know, I say. You told me. He grabs a piece of cornbread off my tray and stuffs it in his mouth. His eyes are pinned on me like 2 thumbtacks on a bulletin board. What was it Mr. Barnes had said? The world is full of Dylan Samarines. I close my eyes and take a deep breath, trying to remember the rest. Wake up, Putty Tat, Dylan shouts in my ear. I jump, and Dylan laughs, shaking the hair out of his eyes. I wonder how much time he spends in front of the mirror every day. In 4th grade, our desks had been right next to the windows, and I'd seen him checking out his reflection in the glass all the time. Once, Mr. Barnes and I caught him doing it at the same time, and we both had to try hard not to laugh. Thinking about that jump-starts my memory, and the rest of Mr. Barnes' advice comes flying back into my head. You have to find a way to keep him from getting to you, I whisper. What was that, Pud? Asked Dylan, grabbing another piece of cornbread off my tray. I look at Dylan and try to imagine that, instead of a crocodile, he's a harmless little rodent, like a mouse or a chipmunk. I never noticed it before, but his ears are actually kind of small and round and set high on the sides of his head. And with his cheeks stuffed full of cornbread, he does look like a chipmunk. All of a sudden, instead of feeling nervous, I start to laugh. Dylan's eyes aren't sparkling anymore. They're cold and dark, like 2 lumps of coal. You want to tell me what's so funny, Pud? He says. As he hitches up his saggy pants, I notice his boxers for the first time. Of all the things they could be decorated with today, polka dots or clover leaves, taxicabs or buffaloes, he's wearing boxers covered with peanuts. Peanuts! My grandma has a family of chipmunks who live under her porch, and she always puts a bowl of peanuts out for them. Dylan Samarine, the crocodile turned chipmunk, standing there in his peanut boxers with his cheek full of cornbread, pushes me right over the edge, and I totally lose it. I haven't laughed this hard in a long time, and every time I think I'm done, I look at his little round ears and his peanut boxers. My stomach bunches up and it starts all over again. I'm laughing so hard I'm crying now. Dylan's an expert at dishing it out, but he hasn't spent much time on the receiving end. He's clearly not enjoying this. Kids are crowding around, laughing and shouting, and I don't even care that I don't have my earplugs in. This might be one of the all-time greatest moments of my life. I'm out of here, says Dylan. Mr. Barnes was right. I found a way to keep Dylan from getting to me, and it actually worked. For one perfect second, I feel like I'm standing on top of the world. And then I hear the whistle blow. Break it up, my mom says, pushing her way through the crowd of kids. What's going on here? Joey, are you okay? When Dylan hears her voice, he turns around. His eyes are sparkling again. "Poor Joey," he says. "Here comes Mommy to save her little baby. Or maybe she needs to change his poopy diaper." Dylan looks like his old self again. He grins at me, shakes the hair out of his eyes, and walks away. So much for being on top of the world. I should have known it wouldn't last. Once a zebra, always a zebra. I look at my mom and shake my head. She just doesn't get it. "Don't be mad at me, Joey. I thought you were in trouble," she says. "I'm your mother. What am I supposed to do? Just stand there and watch?" "No," I say. "You're not supposed to be here at all." I lost my appetite. I can't even remember the last time that happened. My mom has to go break up a food fight on the other side of the cafeteria. So I put in my earplugs and carry my tray over to the table by the trash cans and sit down by myself. A minute later, Ravi shows up carrying his jacket and his backpack. I guess he didn't go home after all. I don't expect him to want to sit with me, but I can't believe my eyes when he walks over to Dylan's table and sits down right beside him. Maybe that ball hit him harder than I thought, because I'm pretty sure he's lost his mind.